today we're going to focus on our facility at West County, where we have a new covered aerated static pile system. I'm going to run that through, and then we'll answer a few questions with some of the struggles we had this fall in implementing that. Go back one. So here's an aerial view of the West County landfill. You can see the compost facility up on top. It's about 350 acres. It's showing the old Windrow system prior to getting the ASP installed up there. We also have a C&D facility, which is just below the windrowing operation. We process about 125 tons a day of C&D material. We recycle about 90% of that material. We get about 500 tons a day of green waste with 1 to 5% food waste that comes in there daily. We also have a transfer station that sits down below there that we receive about 500 tons a day of MSW, which is transloaded and goes to Keller Canyon Landfill. It is a closed landfill, like I said, about 350 acres. It was also a Class 1 there that handled a lot of the old winery or refinery waste in the areas. And we have a leachate treatment plant that treats about 100,000 gallons of leachate monthly, and then that goes over to the wastewater treatment plant where they blend that to help them with some of their activities there. We also have a gas-fired power plant at the facility where we take methane from the landfill and convert that into about 2 megawatts of electricity, probably enough for, I guess, maybe 10 or 15,000 homes in the local area. The new ASP system we built out of robust landfill gas materials. A lot of the ASP systems we've seen use the kind of thin white PVC and thin blowers. We were building this to be robust and last for a long time. So we used heavy-duty landfill gas materials in blowers and built a system that's going to do us a good job for a long time. Main advantage of the covered aerated static pile versus the windrowing operation is it's proven 90% less emissions when run properly. It does cut the resident time for producing compost by 50%, and even more importantly these days, except for this year, it does reduce the water usage by 25%. This is a plan view. The top of the old landfill is where we do the ASP. It's about 20 acres. This plan view represents about half that 10 acres. We built a system that can take daily roughly 500 tons. So each of these quadrants represents a day in the week. There's 5 days per bunker, so we can handle roughly 6 weeks worth of material. That corresponds well with the amount of time it takes to actively compost the material. And then we blow air through that periodically throughout the day and night. We use 6 inches of compost, finished compost, for the cover on the material to keep emissions to a minimum. And then we have wireless sensors that tell us what the temperatures and moisture condition are so we can respond as necessary. Here's the header system on the one side of the blocks. The compost would be on the other side. You can see we're using thick materials for that. Here's a bunker that hasn't been loaded with green waste yet. So in each of these bunkers we have a series of these perforated pipes. You'll see, if you can, they each have a small eyelet on the end because we have to remove those when we load and unload the bunker and get in there to do our cleaning with that. Here's the header system. So this is on the side where we don't put the compost. That's a 200 horsepower blower that we have in the back there that feeds air into the system. It doesn't blow air through all the bunkers at the same time. It rotates through on a timed basis. And you can see the pipes that go through the bunker and into the compost. They have the corrugated orange disconnects on there. So when it's time to empty that bunker, we can disconnect that, pull that pipe out from underneath the compost, and then we can come in with the loader or screens then to remove that compost or reload the bunker. Here's another picture of this side again to kind of give a visual understanding, and this is one of 6 bunkers then that we use for that process. Here's the header system again. We've got the compost loaded in there. This is a side view on the right. Unfortunately, we had a very wet fall and winter, so it's been just a little sloppy out there for compost, but the system works day or night, rain or shine for us. West County Landfill, we do several things to control odors. We do have our landfill gas system there that's drawing on the landfill 24/7. We do have a odor misting system that's tied to our meteorological station, so based on wind direction and speed, that comes on and helps us do odor control as well. Here's a picture of the Met station there. Being a good neighbor is important to us, and we're committed to constantly evaluating our operations at the site. We work closely with the regulators, the Air Board, the county, local LEA. We're looking for opportunities all the time to do better management of the facility. Best management practices, again, we've converted to the covered aerated static pile system. Again, it reduces emissions by 90%. It's the Air District's preferred method for composting. It's our most efficient process. We've got fully automated temperature control, so it helps us run the system more effectively, and we've got the bunker system, which eliminates the movement of material, which can also create potential odors during that process. We also take care of the wildcat trail that's around the landfill. We use a lot of our compost materials to help with erosion control and other needs at the landfill. So I'll take questions at this time.
So we sent our compost to from the Berkeley lab, and we've been told that the compostable plastic, the PLA, won't break down in this new system. And I'm wondering what the difference is between the old one and this new one, and how that relates to what we're saying the compost will break down.
You know, plastic is a good question. You know, we've had issues with plastic there. The best thing we can do is get our customers and residents to keep as much of that out of the material as it comes in. With the new system there, we have more space available, that we're doing more plastic removal before we grind the material. And we're still breaking the materials down during that process, and we still do some screening and curing, but that's something we may have to investigate more. I do have a guy that has worked with that a little bit, so I would contact the facility, and we probably need to spend a little more time on that. You would want the general manager is Daryl Smith, so make contact with Daryl, or Doug Brewer. He's our environmental manager, and that would be dbrewer@republicservices.com.
So I'm sure you don't want to go into exact details, but can you give a ballpark estimate for the change in cost per ton with the old system compared to this new system?
You know, very good question. We're still evaluating that. You know, the new system was almost $2 million to build, so quite a bit more capital cost involved in setting that up, but it's going to last a very long time. We're hoping with less movement in the material, we'll see a small reduction in the material. The thing that I think is most important for us, and it wasn't so much the cost saving, it was just being able to produce compost with less odor using the covered aerated static pile system. I think that was really the main trade-off for us.
Overs, do you have overs on the screen at the end?
We do. We do create about 20% overs on a general basis. We are looking at some methods of being able to use those overs. Presently, they go to one of our associated landfills for daily cover, but we're looking at rescreening those again. If we can remove the plastics out, it's a nice carbon add for some land farming that we're looking at doing in some of the north counties. Sir?
Can you just address bioplastics? Haven't you tested them and they don't break down? So why are you even bothering using them?
You know, that's a good question. Not an expert in bioplastics. We've done some research at one of our facilities and had a fair amount of success, but when you get it out in the real world on a large scale, it never seems to work quite as well as you'd hoped. Sir?
So the facility had a lot of public problems last year that many of us are aware of. I'm wondering how much of that was attributable to the amount of food that you were bringing in? A lot of the communities that are represented here are trying to figure out what food, and how much of it was just something else?
A very good question. Thank you for asking. You know, a lot of the issues we had last fall were attributed to the transition process of going from our existing windrowing operation to the covered aerated static pile. We were working in a very small proximity, so it was difficult, especially in a wet season that we had last year, to get the construction done that we needed to make the room and not have places for that material to go. So we had issues in just managing the amount of material that we were having to bring in during that construction process. We could have managed it a little bit better, which we apologize for, but we're through that process now. So I would say 99% of those issues we had were associated with that transition. Now that that's over, no more windrows on the site. With the new system, we're never going to have that problem again, and I can assure you of that. And the food waste may have been part of the odor issue at the time, but now that we've got the new system up, the windrows out of the way, that's not an issue for us any longer. Yep. Okay.
I wondered if you've noticed a difference in quality between your firm Windrow product and your CAP product.
You know, we started the new ASP system the end of December, so we're just kind of getting into that cycle period right now, and that's one of our main concerns is to find out how those compare, and we'll be lining up the analytical and looking at that. Based on the research that we've seen from the prior work, it's supposed to be as good, if not better, because we're controlling temperatures better and managing moisture better, so we should have a better product, and that's what we're hoping for. One last question? Okay.
During your transition with the LEA and the airboard, were they sympathetic or?
You know,
more concerned about the neighbors complaining about yours?
so he asked if the LEA and Airboard were sympathetic during our issues. You know, they did their job well. They engaged us very aggressively but professionally. This was a new system for them as well. We could have done things better. We've all had lots to learn during the process, but you know, we did come together, we did roll up our sleeves, we did find a way to get through it in a positive manner, and I think this is going to end up being a very good regional facility for the area. And I think the LEA and Airboard and ourselves have all grown stronger because of it. So I think they did a good job. It wasn't easy, but we got through it. Thank you very much.